Hello Booktube, it's Leah Cooper here, and today I am bringing you my TBR for the 2017 Booktube SFF Awards. Now, the Booktube SFF Awards is a special award here on Booktube to celebrate the best in science fiction and fantasy from the previous year. The nominees are put forward by members of the community, and it is curated by a group of really fantastic booktubers here on YouTube. Now, in the last year, I've seen quite a few booktubers set challenges for themselves to read the long list or short list of a specific award, like the Booker or the Bailey's Women's Prize. And I'm really intrigued by that, but knowing myself, I know that I will never get through a short list for something like the Booker. But when I heard about the Booktube SFF Awards, I realized that this was definitely an award and a group of books that I was very interested in reading. So this year, I am challenging myself to read, not the entire list, because I will admit there are a few titles that have been nominated that I just have no desire to read. But I'm going to try to read about 75% of the list before voting commences. Somewhat working against me is the fact that this year, a lot of second books in a series have been nominated, and I have not read the first book in many of these series, or actually any of them. I think looking at the shortlist for the award, I've actually only read one title that's been nominated, which is Monstress. I read it last month as part of the Getting Graphic readathon, and I loved it. So that means I have a lot of catching up to do. Now, you may have seen my March TBR only had about 4 books on it. And since I posted that video, my Jane Austen read-along has actually postponed reading Sense and Sensibility. So since I have a lot of reading time available now to me, I figured I'm gonna get started this month reading the first book for the series that have been nominated. If you want to go ahead and check out the Goodreads group for this award, between March and May, they're actually running organized read-alongs for all the books that have been nominated. Because I will be borrowing all of these books, and I can't guarantee I will get the titles in the correct order or the correct month, I'm going to go ahead and just read the nominees as I get them. Now that I've gotten that big long spiel out of the way, let's get into my TBR. In the adult novel category, the first thing I'm reading has not been nominated this year, but it is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and it is the first book in the Broken Earth series. I don't know if it's a series or a trilogy, but it's the first book. I haven't read it, so I need to read this so I can read the first book that's been nominated in the adult category, which is The Obelisk Gate, also by M.K. Jemisin, and that's the second book in the series. After that, I'll be reading Ninefox Gambit, that moment when I've forgotten to write down all the author names. So I'll put the name of the author to Ninefox Gambit down below so you can see. And then after that, I have to read another first book in series, which is A Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria Schwab, so that I can read the third book that's been nominated, which is A Gathering of Shadows, also by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab, whichever name goes on the adults and whichever name goes on the YA. I always get it confused. And then in the YA category, the first thing I'm reading, and I've actually already started this, and if you follow me on Twitter, I've kind of been losing my mind a little bit over this book the last couple of days, and that's Six of Crows, which is, again, the first book in a series. The second book, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, has been nominated for the award. So I'm going to be reading this, and then I'm going to be reading Crooked Kingdom. And then after that, I'll be reading This Savage Song. And then finally in this category, A Court of Mist and Fury has been nominated, but honestly, I'm not going to read it. It's the second book in a series, the first book being, of course, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I have tried to read A Court of Thorns and Roses multiple times, and I cannot get through it. The writing is just, I can't do it. So I know that a lot of people have said that the second book is better, but a lot of people who I've heard saying that are saying that in regards to the plot and the characters. And when I tried to read the first book, it wasn't even the plot and the characters that I couldn't get into. It was the little writing. Like, I can't do her writing. So I'm not going to read that in this category. And then in the graphic novels category, like I said, I've already read Monstress, and I've already started reading the Saga volumes. I'm currently on Saga volume 3. Volume 6 is the one that's been nominated. So I'm going to be trying to read volumes 3 through 6 over the next 2 months. I'm having a real hard time getting my hands on volume 5 though, so I really hope I'll be able to read all the way through 6 by the end. We'll see. Cross fingers. After that, I'll also be reading Descender, Volume 1, which is by Jeff Lemire, and Dustin Nguyen. And I'll also be reading, if I can get my hands on it again, Volume 2. Volume 2 is the one that has been nominated for the award. So far, I have not actually been able to find Volume 2 at my local library. So that's another one where I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to get my hands on it, but I'm gonna be trying because this looks beautiful. I just kind of glanced through it and the art has this really pretty kind of watercolor style, which I love. After that, we have the short story / novella category. For this category, I'll only be reading one book again, and that is Every Heart a Dory by Seanan McGuire. The other 2 nominations in this category are both Brandon Sanderson short stories, and while I very much respect Brandon Sanderson, I think he's a really intelligent writer. He's very good at what he does. He's very good at craft. I know also the sort of story he writes and his writing style, and it's just not for me. So I'm going to be skipping those 2 shorts. I mean, you can try to convince me otherwise, but I'm not a big high fantasy fan. I'm really not a high fantasy fan, so you're probably wasting your time. And then the final category is the middle grade category. I have not read anything on that category, but I'm also not really planning to. Right now, this is kind of a hefty TBR just because I have to do a whole lot of like extra reading to get to the sequels. So I'm a little bit concerned about how much time it's going to take just to read these ones that I really, really want to read. If I finish them all really early, I'm definitely going to check out the middle grade nominations, and they look really good, and I've heard a lot of people who talk about them who really like them. But again, that's going to be dependent on time. So anyways, those are the 12 novels / graphic novels that I am planning to read in the next 3 months for the 2017 Booktube SFF Awards. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know what your thoughts are on them, if you're planning to read them, if you are planning to do a similar type of challenge. Be sure to check out the Goodreads group for the award. I'm thinking I'll do another video once I've done all this reading, maybe with my predictions for what I think should win, what I think will win, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all soon. Bye.